Then the next time that people saw the Kenya women's was in Dubai, where we were in the finals with China. The girls are very active. They are really good girls. They are like, oh man, they're really strong, and they put themselves out there to play. But as you may have realized, it's been out, and we don't have the women team does not have a sponsor.
There was this conversation and this argument. What do people follow? Do people follow, like the entertainment, or do people follow the rugby first? And I'll tell you why that came up. I felt like, for example, like this year, there was no, because that was a theory that was there, that a lot of people go just because of the entertainment. The Challenges series introduced most of us to the women's game, because the Kenya Sevens women team was part of the tournament. And I'll be honest, this was the first time that I took a keen interest on the women's game, because they were playing alongside the men's team. And I saw some very good rugby. So Konye, talk to us about this specific women's team, and maybe just the development of the women's game in Kenya.
You are the last.
Konye.
So, as you can recall, again, most people saw the women's sevens team first. So, people watched the Tunisia game. The Olympic qualifier was being held in Tunisia. Unfortunately, they split up the men's and the women's for Olympic qualifier. The women's team was being done in Tunisia. Unfortunately, they lost due to some close calls in Tunisia to South Africa. So South Africa qualified, women's qualified for the Olympics, and we did not. We have to go to repechage. And then the next time that people saw the Kenya women's was in Dubai, where we were in the finals with China. The girls are very active. They are really good girls. They are like, oh man, they're really strong, and they put themselves out there to play. But as you may have realized, it's been out, and we don't have the women team does not have a sponsor. So, and nobody has been able to step up on the plate to sponsor the women's team. Unfortunately, the women's have gone several months. I think now it's coming to 9 months without getting salaries.
Wow. Okay, that is not good.
But they do get a little stipend, the so-called stipend, when they're training during the national games. They get a stipend, but unfortunately, they haven't got like full salaries for like so many months. So again, this goes without saying, it's hard to play on an empty stomach. You're not able to meet your obligations. You already stopped working. Some of the girls used to be like trainers. I know these girls by names, and they know me, and we talk. Some of them stopped working so they can start training for the national team. So, and they're not getting remunerated for what they stopped working for. So again, it becomes a challenge. It's not an excuse, but you always have to think psychologically. That plays a psychological warfare in their background, how they're playing. Again, it's hard for you to perform at your best when you cannot meet your basic needs. And as you can remember in my speech, when I went to the dinner, I put it up to the ministry. Again, they want these girls to perform, but they're not willing to step up to help these girls meet their daily needs so they can be able to give their best. That's always a big question that you have to pose to these people so they can be able to realize. Again, sometimes as I say, math is simple. Bodman formula. You add one and then you subtract. You don't do more than you. You do more than you get more than you. So to keep it in simple terms is that if we're able to get support for the women's teams, I think we have a great potential. And especially with nowadays the push for the equality in sport. If you approach any sponsor with that simple statement right there, equality in sports, why do you want to sponsor the men's team and you don't want to sponsor the women's team? That's a big thing. But it's just going to get you in the door. But again, there's always some tussle of the people who are trying to negotiate contract. Again, I don't know what's goes on in the background, and I don't care to know. All I care to know is that the players are being taken care of. I look out for the players' welfare.
Wow, it's really sad when you say that these women players sometimes have gone up to 9 months
Well, they haven't been paid for 9 months.
or they haven't been paid for 9 months.
They've not been paid the salaries, or they don't have a sponsor.
Oh my goodness, that is so painful, because I've been following the team, and they've been playing some very good rugby.
They do.
Yeah, they're coming up. They're on the come up.
It's interesting. They're not only on the come up. They were one game away.
No, that team is good.
Really?
They were one game away from playing in the qualifying tournament. They were one game away. It was that one, last game that they lost to. I think they lost to Poland, and Poland is the one that ended up coming to the qualifying.
Poland went and we lost.
Yeah. So my thinking is, if we can just cross over that hump, because now funding, once they make it to the World Rugby 7 series, there will be funding that will be coming from World Rugby. I think that's gonna take our women's game to the next level, because I really liked, it was my first time, watching the women's team, and I really liked what I saw. But it's very sad, and that's the reason why we have you, Konye, here to tell us what we don't know. It's very sad that we're learning now that they've gone for 9 months without getting paid.
Yeah, it's been said in the news again. It's been on social media. Trying to get the girls funding. Trying to bring it to limelight that the girls are going so many months. But again, unfortunately, it's not necessarily falls into deaf ears. It is reported that there's no sponsor, there's no money. What are we gonna do? We gotta keep looking for a sponsor.
All right, now Marin Gikonyo here is commenting, saying, Washeka introduced my son Andrew to rugby at an early age, took him to Vegas and San Fran for the Sevens World Cup. Do you know Andrew knows more rugby players than I do?
And actually, to support what Marin does, Marin is one of those guys. I think he's sort of behind Konye when it comes to rugby and following the team and doing that.
Yes, with his
Pope, him and Wagura. By the way, that's a fraternity.
Blessing people all over the place.
It's a tribe.
Yeah.
These rugby guys, that is a tribe.
He was even busy blessing the cabinet secretary.
Imagine.
I hope those blessings go to him. And he'll get to sponsor the women's team.
Well, the blessings, the blessings, the form of a brown envelope.
Yeah.
But Andrew.
Yeah.
My nephew, the son. I think he's an All Blacks guy.
Okay.
Marin is a Wallabies guy.
Okay.
But kid really enjoys rugby. Like atampeleka Sevens, Vegas, like even when
tumeka stance na Andrew Sevens ngapi?
Kadha. I can imagine the kadha.
Yeah.
So like even when the All Blacks came with to play against the US, I think that was 2 years ago. He's being in, like Andrew is over there. He's in the mix with the boys. Like he's like with the rugby guys.
Okay.
And I'm like, start early. Just start
early. And then Washeke says, Marine, I should do this as well. And that's so. And then Washeke says that's so typical of the neglect of our athletes. Such a shame. I think this was in response to what Konye was saying. Dennis Wesonga. He's saying while facing backwards. I don't know whether that's another Nakuru joke. Ama this is something different. Deno, please, fafanua. We have a caller.
Allah? No.
Okay. We no longer have a caller. Number
it's
two.
YouTube. It's because
okay. So we have some comments on YouTube here. BG says great interview. Thank you so much, BG, for tuning in. And then Boniface Kanyiri says, Konye, tell us about the celebration dance when Shujaa Sevens score a try. What's that one for Oro? That dance right there, I think you should patent it.
I think there's also there's some comments that you missed over here.
Tutakupata kwa klabu kidansi hivyo.
Mi nikijua ndenda ni practice.
There's some comments over here.
There's some comments that I missed. Okay.
Like Drew Kimani was asking, what's Konye's diet regiment? Eshirandura Chief Louis Chief Louis says over here that Konye has been my accountability partner for over 2 years. For over 2 years. Every single day, he checks out my workout posts and has been my number one cheerleader. The discipline imposed by Konye pushes you to strive like he does. And I think that's it. Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Now, Konye, let's go to a little bit about the domestic rugby calendar right here in the US. Because there's a lot of, yes, of course, our sevens team is doing great in different parts of the world. There's a domestic calendar we have. The Kenyan Exiles you've been a part of will be taking part in the annual Cape Fear Sevens tournament in Wilmington, North Carolina on the weekend of June the 22nd and the 23rd. And I think some people are coming in on Friday, the 21st.
Yeah.
For those not
Yeah, some
familiar,
people going in on Thursday.
oh my goodness.
And he needs to answer that question about diet regimen.
Yes,
in
we're gonna
addition
talk.
this.
We're gonna go
Yes.
back to that diet
Okay,
question.
sir.
But back to Cape Fear. For those not familiar with Kenya Exiles and Cape Fear Sevens, Konye, please briefly talk about that.
So Kenya Exile is a club, as a rugby club, primarily of Kenyans and friends of Kenyans that has been in the field for many years. Actively in the US since the late 90s, I think. I believe. I think if I got up to Misha and Ger are the ones who introduced it. Actually, hey, guess who I was talking to? I was talking to a former player, and they were telling about how the Exile started back in Nairobi, and then how it got exported. So we have a Kenyan Exiles team that we play sevens tournament. We've tried to play multiple sevens tournaments. Previously, we had like 3-4 tournaments that we used to get engaged in. But this year we have a big tournament coming up in June 22nd, 23rd weekend. Sherehe starts on Thursday and it ends on Monday. It's a big tournament. We're trying to raise awareness and trying to find a way that we can bring Kenyans together, especially in a year that we did not have a big rugby tournament this year. That brought a lot of Kenyans together. So we're all trying to go to Wilmington, South Carolina the weekend
North
and
Carolina.
enjoy rugby.
North
There's a
Carolina.
good fun rugby and have them enjoy and some doing that.
By the way, let me give a big shout out to Benny Thiongo. Benny is the one who's in ATL right now. He's
Another Nakuru guy.
another Nakuru guy. By the way,
Man.
it's what ni watu wa Nakuru mazee
Man, watu wa Nakuru.
wana organize hivi vitu Marine, Konye
Benny?
na Benny. So
okay.
Benny is the guy who's really like he's sort of taken over the stewardship of Kenyan Exiles and
Okay.
managing and then arranging. And I would be remiss if I don't say Benny Viongo.
Okay, so Cape Fear Sevens.
Yes.
Is it, like for those maybe who've never attended it before?
Yes.
What exactly is it? Is it just Kenyans meeting and playing against each other?
No.
Is it a full tournament for the sake of those
The
who?
full tournament.
Yeah.
Please, Konye, by all
Konye.
means. What
So basically, it's a tournament. And actually, it's a qualifier tournament for the Southeast, I believe. A lot of teams from Florida. There is a few teams from Atlanta, Memphis, Charlotte. Mostly in the Southeast side. They come for it's a qualifying tournament for as a region to qualify for the bigger tournament that is played later on in the year for the sevens. Again, you may realize that sevens is played only in the summer and mostly in the US. Most clubs usually do 15s all year round, but then in the summertime they take a break. That's when sevens are played. So we have a Kenyan team. We have an A side and a B side. The B side is made out of all retired, like we can say the legends. Are the ones who play.
Akina Marine,
The legends, Kina Marina,
Ahenda, Wesonga. This Dennis
Yeah.
Wesonga over here.
Yeah, Benny is on. All the other guys who
Even Bombay.
who played rugby before and they want to play. But then we have the A class guys who are like actively playing full rugby that play for our A side that is in the competitive side. So there's a social side and then there's the competitive side. We're trying to raise awareness, and also in these dundas we're trying to see if we can entice people. Because again, Kenyans are known for their party scenes. If you're able to entice people in a party scene, even people who don't know rugby, they can come for Dunda and participate in the field. And again, this creates another big movement that goes down the road to again support the team and support ourselves.
Ali, guess who are the DJs? Cape Fear.
I know.
There you go. We got a couple
no. Who are DJs? I know. Who are the DJs?
Let me make a wild guess.
Yes.
DJ Shinsky and DJ Sunny Sistuki. Wild guess. Random guess.
There you go.
How brother?
Okay.
How brother?
So Sunny Sistuki and DJ Shinsky are gonna be there entertaining people through the weekend.
Like
During
announcements.
the weekend.
Now,
Exactly.
DJ
Like
Mosh.
nonsense.
and
DJ
DJ
Mosh
Mosh is still missing in
No,
action.
huyo
That guy has coolered fair
bro.
since he went to Atlanta.
Huyo akwende.
He
Ako
disappeared.
fishing.
Anybody who's seen DJ Omosh fire, please report with immediate effect. If
No,
you
don't-
see him with any money,
Don't report. Run away.
yeah, if you see him with any money, please take it and keep it until we can come and take it back for safe custody.
Yes.
Alikula fair,
Yeah.
show ameenda, and since he went to see the president in Atlanta, he has never returned.
He's been very shaky.
Yeah, even his family members have been asking us, where is
Bana,
this guy?
like, hey.
You know, like, you guys do a show with him every Friday. Us
Maze?
guys were like, we sent him there, but he disappeared, and we don't know where he is.
Vindu vichenjanga.
Yeah.
Eh.
So yeah. But history ya sherehe.
Yes.
Let me ask you something, Konye, because there was a conversation that was happening in the group. There's a group for promoters, and I mean, I don't know whether Konye you're in that group.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
I'm not gonna mention the name of the group.
I'm not a promoter.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention the name.
promoter.
I'm not gonna mention the name of the group. But then there was this conversation and this argument. What do people follow? Do people follow, you know, like the entertainment, or do people follow the rugby first? And I'll tell you why that came up. I felt like, for example, like this year, there was no, because that was a theory that was there, that a lot of people go just because of the entertainment. But then this year, we got your doctor, you know, what are they called? Ni hypothesis, there's something, a control experiment, whereby there was no rugby. There was a control experiment whereby this
There was no rugby.
2024, there was no rugby.
And guess
Yeah.
what?
So if
Guess
people
what?
were
Guess
following
what's there?
so if people
There
are
was no
following,
bash.
exactly.
The promoters were sleeping.
No. There were bashes. They just failed. Hakuwa na customers.
So maybe Konye just
Hakuwa na wafans.
just address that issue, you know, like
No.
with the rugby, because we've also been trying to get you know, like people who are coming to promote at rugby events to make sure that it's rugby first. Because remember, there were years in Vegas when bashes were being thrown, you know, like day parties, pool parties were being thrown when the games were happening at some Boyd Stadium. So I think this is something that I want you to address.
And we got flack for calling them out.
Yes, we did get in trouble.
Yeah.
We did get in trouble for
To this
calling that
day,
out.
some of us
Yeah.
have been blacklisted.
Yeah, we did get in trouble, but I want you to address it, being, you know, like someone who has dedicated so much of his time to rugby and promoting the game and promoting it to the fans. Konye.
So, even Mukwasi gets a lot of slack for this. And I love him for it. Because he always calls bullshit when he sees it. He always tells people, when you come to rugby tournaments, remember it's rugby first. Everything else second. And everybody gives him slack for it. But the truth is, as you say, the hypothesis has been proved correct. Like, especially like this year, we had this tournament in LA, but Kenya was not there. There was not only Kenyans who came to watch the US games. At least huge kuna timu gani ya kutoka wapi. There was nobody coming to knock on their doors telling them to host 3 bashes or 4 bashes.
No.
They might have had the bashes, but the Kenyan quorum that usually is there was not there. But when we try to express this to them and to tell them that, again, most Kenyans are coming there in the name of rugby, but you get a lot of extra people. Without rugby, you don't get any of those extra people. And I think the consensus is clear now to them that they need to play ball appropriately and realize that our Kenyan rugby boys or girls, they're the ones who bring the party. They're the ones who gather the crowd. The crowd, without these people, there is no bash. And that is clear. It's clear.
You know
So
the
simple.
one thing that I usually say, and I will not lie, a lot of them don't like me, but I say it as it is. The level of importance that most of these promoters have put into themselves is actually pathetic. Because if you can't be doing these parties in your hometown and then you assume that you're going to another city and you are the one who's pulling people to that bash, to that amount of people, you're lying to yourself. You're not that good. You're just an option of entertainment that's there for people who went there for another thing. Yes, we will come to the parties and we will celebrate. We will have fun there. But the number one reason why people usually go for these tournaments is for the rugby. Without the rugby, there would have been no Vegas, there would have been no LA, there would have been no nothing.
We have been on that, yes.
And
100%.
Yes, and then so if you really assume you're that good, go just on a random weekend. You don't even go on a holiday weekend and host a party in those cities and
Now-
see how many Kenyans come.
Now think about it. Vegas, since rugby left Vegas, like
Kenyans don't go to...
there's been talk about, let's have a reunion there, but none has ever happened. And now it's how many years? It's almost 5 years
Yeah,
since rugby left Vegas.
it's not feasible because the thing is this.
Yeah.
These rugby fans have friends and families and they go there with them. And then the people who go to this, if I'm going for rugby, I will try to bring a few people to come to rugby with me. I'll tell them, si tuende rugby, tuende Vegas, tuangalie hivi, right? And then I know you like partying, I'll tell you kutakuwa na bash, lakini tuende
Yeah.
rugby,
study.
tuende study, experience study. And most people actually, when you, after that whole weekend, you ask them what is the excitement, they're like, hey, siku najua study kwa fun hivi, right? And then the next time when they come back and they bring their friends, they'll make sure, okay, sir, but then the thing is they will make sure like, ataka nenda kudunda, there's that rugby bit of it. So the rugby is what's bringing them in.
100%.
So if you sit down and you assume that you have failed for 11 months to hold a successful event, and then all of a sudden you are successful in to hold an event where there's a tournament and assume that you're that good, you're not.
Now, remember, Mika, when we started that Twende Study campaign, because there was a point in Vegas where we realized, because of the way Vegas is set up with the strip, Nanini, there's a lot of distractions. So there are people who are in confusion.
No, it had gotten so toxic to a point whereby even the people who were making the parties and they knew that it was rugby that was bringing these people, they were not giving back to rugby, and they were stealing from rugby. It had gotten to a point whereby, and I remember when I say that, why don't we make it this way? Why don't we just rally together and push people to come to the stadium? Then you can fight for them at night to come to whichever party you're coming to.
100%,
right?
yes.
But then the thing is, let's not forget the reason why we go to Vegas, because it got,
rugby.
it had gotten to a point whereby guys are not satisfied of having the night parties. Guys want to have
Day
parties, and all of them want to have day parties. And then, so the thing is like, then what's the purpose of actually people going to Vegas?
And you see,
And that is why we said that we said what we said and got us into trouble. What do you say? we said that clearly. If somebody has a day party, don't go. And we clearly say that, they hated us. Well,
yeah,
but guess what?
I mean, we got into some
we
serious
got in
trouble for that.
But guess
To this
what?
day.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then guess what? That is one of the time we had the highest number of people in the stadium. And since that day, that number continued growing and growing and growing. So the thing is, Mokwasi did events. You never saw Mokwasi do a day event.
No, never.
Never.
Yeah.
You never saw Mokwasi missing the stadium.
No.
Right?
No.
Never. He knew exactly what purpose was taking him to Vegas. Ilikuwa niyo rugby. So you can call yourself the best promoter in the world. We don't really care about that. But when there is a tournament, just respect that tournament as it is. It doesn't matter if it's rugby. Hata when you're in the Kansas Toyoyo, right? Toyoyo is it's about football.
Toyoyo, that's another one.
Yeah,
we cover.
July 4th, yeah, is Toyoyo ni juu ya ball.
Ni ball.
Usieke events zile kuna tone ya ball bana. Wacha watu wakacheze ball, wacha watu wakone ball, then jioni do your event.
But
And you do whatever you need to.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that needs to be mutual respect and understanding that, again, what we're bringing to the table, because without one, there is not another. And when we keep colliding, we beat each other on the head. That's what we do. We end up losing both of them.
yeah, we end up losing both of them. And I think, if you're a DJ, you're a promoter, at least take time to understand the game. There are those who already understand the game. We understand, like maybe not everyone used to follow the game, like back home, and maybe you've not been following the game. But at least if this is an event that you want to come and participate in, take some time to understand the game. The sevens game is very simple. It's not very difficult to understand. I've seen people go watch rugby for the first time, understand it and enjoy it. Take time, understand it, understand the dynamics of what's happening there. At least, also, involve in your promotion, involve some rugby. Involve some
Remember, I'm going to take you right back right quick, like one quick question. Remember, like the very first Vegas, a lot of the promoters were coming with their placards and giving them out of the stadium.
At the stadium,
Yeah. I remember
true.
that.
Yeah.
Siku za Diablos. Yeah, Siku za Diablos.
Diablos.
Yeah.
Diablos.
Actually flyers ilisha kukuja kwa nini kwa study after they felt like they've grown so big, but then the thing is
grown so big.
Yeah,
they
didn't have funds. They didn't have customers. They used to come with those flyers I remember people would come and talk to me like nigga we mazejo unajua wewe ukipeana
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then it got to a point here at the show. They told us we're never even coming to sell our events at our show, and we told them we don't even want you to come. We are going to promote the rugby. Yes. Promote any event because the thing is gotten to a point where you forget where it all started. You forget the reason why people are actually going to Vegas. Because I will tell you the truth. I can go to that event in my city or in a city close to me. If I'm paying money to fly, a good hotel room, in a good hotel room, I'm going to watch the rugby, and after the rugby I'm going to do some R&R for myself and then come back home. Event na dunda ni kitu ya kawaida. And guess what, Ali, you remember when Ali used to make fun and make some, the one thing I discovered Mika does is do what? Mika sleeps, wakes up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, Mika wanalala. Yeah. Mika alikuwa ni mjanja. Mika alikuwa nalala.
Mimi nilikuwa nalala naenda kujichokesha. Mimi nilikuwa na save nguvu yangu ya kwenda study. Naamka 3 am naenda PH nakutana na watu, natoka PH nikienda study. Nikitoka study nakuja nalala tena.
That was actually a very good formula. And I think now these formulas, I think Konye is gonna also start teaching people of what to eat, how to pace yourself, so that you can take part in all those games. Shiro up on YouTube anasema Konye, we appreciate the effort you put in following and chasing the Kenya rugby team through Kenya spirit. And now, as we're getting close to wrap it up, I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned into the One Mic Show, and I'm your host and producer, Ali Badawi. We are talking to Kenya's #1 rugby fan, Konye Njoroge, or like we say in our Nairobi West accent, Konye. He's talking to us about the epic comeback of the Kenya rugby team back to the World Rugby 7 Series. He's currently in the land of Matoke, Uganda, attending the Legends game this weekend, which he had just talked about previously. He's known for being anywhere in the world where the Kenya rugby team is. Our lines are open. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Feel free to call in and ask Konye any question before we wrap up. And as we are about to wrap up, we'll be talking about Shuja's upcoming calendar this summer and next season, because it is jam-packed. So I want you to stay tuned for that, because there's so many things that you need to know and to plan. And I can see so many other people are tuned in. I can see Walter Robinson, I can see St. Chris Zion, I can see Luis Muya, I can see Stephen JJ. Please drop a comment, let us know what you think about this conversation. Now, the traveling side of rugby, Konye, this is very important. Now we are coming to a close. Traveling side of rugby, already some questions had come before, because people see you globe trotting all over the world. You know that being a rugby fan is a very expensive sport in itself. Being a fan it's actually a sport in itself.
Akona Amex.
Yeah, we tend to see you in every corner of the globe where rugby is. So for wale mahasla, watu ya boda na mama mboga, looking to get into this, what's your advice regarding managing the costs for both travel and accommodation while out on the circuit? Konye.
Amex, American Express.
This will be very valuable. This is money-saving information you're about to give.
This is a cream of the crop. What I usually advise people, once the calendar comes out, the calendar, like for now, the HSBC series is likely going to come out maybe late July. Late July, but we already kind of know in December, there's going to be 2 tournaments. Beginning of the first weekend of December is going to be Dubai. The second weekend of December is going to be Cape Town. You already know those 2 weekends. Anza tu kuchangia tu sahi, choose one or take both. Buy the flight early. You can get the best prices when you buy them early. Okay, so when you choose and pick. Again, not everybody's going to be able to go to every tournament. But if you live in a city that a tournament is coming to you, once you know it's coming to your city, buy the ticket early. That's always the biggest item. Buy the tickets early and then organize your living situation. Where you're going to stay. Me, I personally choose to live within walking distance of the stadium because I don't know what Matagodani is going to happen at night. And I don't want to miss the games in the morning. So I try to get my hotel as close as I can to the stadium so that even if I wake up 10 minutes before the game, I can jump out of bed, put on some clothes, my regalia, my underwear, and I run to the stadium.
The one with the Kenyan flag.
The one with the Kenyan flag, I can get the stadium very fast.
Yeah.
That's usually my number one trick. But again, as soon as you know the schedule and you know the tournament that you want to hit, start looking at the spots you want to stay at, and you see if you can get some time off. Schedule your time off around those times. Again, I'm lucky enough that I'm a doctor and I'm an intensivist and a doctor. We do shift works, and I'm only obligated to work 12 to 14 shifts a month, or I can work 30 days if I want. But why would I work 30 days? And they should have to be chapel and they're traveling to do that. I want to kill myself. And if I kill myself, they're gonna find somebody else to work. So I work my minimal shifts, and then I bring out my sharia the rest of the month. And I can schedule my schedule whichever way I want. My people have known me that I schedule my days around my traveling schedule, and they have accepted.
Okay.
So, and not everybody can be like me, but
your best.
people can plan around it.
Plan ahead.
Plan around it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. Because
On a hustler jet, somebody saying over
no,
here.
JM is a hustler jet. But what he's actually saying is true, because I'll tell you, like us guys, we have a Formula One group that we do a trip every year, right? So it's usually the same thing. Whenever the calendar comes out, we decide which one it
You
is,
decide.
and that's it. You
And
start,
that's it.
Yeah, you start planning for it.
You execute. You
Yeah.
buy your tickets.
Yep. And then another thing that most people don't even understand is, like, most of this travel is, like, as Konye said, whatever you're using to pay, be it points, be it money, be it whatever, if you plan ahead in advance,
Fine.
You'll save a lot of
you'll
money.
save a lot. You're going to do a lot of travel cheap. And then another thing I usually tell people is this: don't be scared to travel minimally. Like, usiwahi ogopa ku travel like cheaply. As
So
long as you're safe and convenient.
what do you mean by traveling cheaply? You mean like accommodation? In terms of what do you mean by traveling cheaply?
Panda spirit.
Okay.
Utafika.
Exactly.
Utafika.
Utafika.
Bora ufike.
Bora.
Destination is
Yeah.
the same.
Team bora ufike.
Utafika. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
Usiogope.
trick.
Yeah, go on.
Konye.
Another trick, if you're like going to Europe, you don't necessarily need to go to the city the game is. Find the cheapest trip to Europe, and then within Europe you can get a cheaper ticket.
Now,
Ryanair. I'm a train. Like,
that is a
I'm a
super
train.
hack.
yeah.
That is a super hack right there, which I would never have thought about, because nilikuwa nimetaka kuja Madrid. Hey, I was looking at those ticket prices, and they were not ticketing.
No, you don't.
They were not ticketing, and I was looking at them. Unfortunately, a few weeks before the tournament.
You know me, Madrid was supposed to be my birthday trip.
And then what happened?
My grandmother died.
Yeah. Pole, son.
So I had to go home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that was supposed to be my birthday trip, right? And I had splurged, right? Lakini pia ile splurging nilikuwa nimesplurge kukuwa ati ile
splurge.
Yeah, kwa sababu I have other trips that I planned throughout the year. So Madrid was those ones, like, okay, last year you did a big birthday celebration, so this year is that much, but then it was like Kenya's play, right? Sijenda game ya Kenya imwaka, and then it's gonna be a tournament and then it's around my birthday, right? So it
2 for 1.
Yeah. So it but then if you look at it, it was thereby, as Konye said, I was not flying straight to Madrid. No, me was gonna land somewhere in Europe and then
You
get
know,
a
and then you
train
take
to
a-
what- yeah, then
Man.
yeah. So
Man.
like you you know
Unapita
how to
kona.
unajua vile unachanganya hizi vitu
Bukinya,
unazifanya zi make sense.
unachapa Mbukinya all the way.
Bukini Express, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
Napanda Eldoret Express.
yeah, you have like
Makes
it's
sense.
so when you're planning for, especially when if you have a few days that you can spare, and then those people who can work,
And that's a
who-
good
those
experience.
people who can
Who work
telework,
remote, yeah,
who can
yeah.
telework also, you can do that. You can go, you can take a trip, right? Then you use your days for your traveling time, and then you just work. Then when you need to watch the games is when you use your hours that you need. So you can you find yourself that even if you don't have a lot of hours, you can still work around it and be able. So there's so many ways in which you can plan.
You can manage.
You
those
can
much
manage and
arranges.
plan this thing. It doesn't mean that you have to break the bank or go way beyond your expenditure on trying to do these things. And then another thing is pooling of resources.
Yeah.
If you can just have a group of people who you are strong with and you can pool resources and actually try.
Not random people who met on WhatsApp.
No. See,
Yeah.
no.
You mtenda
You have to have some
kukosana.
solid people.
You
You have to have some
solid
solid people.
Yeah. So Paris is coming up. So I guess
Yeah.
that's a hack. People who want to go to the Paris Olympic Games to see the Kenya Sevens team, I think that's how
Paris
they can
tickets are
do
ridiculous.
because
right now.
Paris
So
tickets
you
are going to be
you go to
ridiculous.
London
Uh-huh.
and you take the tube.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or you fly to Holland and you take the train too.
So there's a
Yeah.
train also from Holland.
Yeah.
That you can take
Netherlands.
Yeah, Netherlands, 2 hours in Paris.
Man, unakutana
You
kina
go to
Dennis
Belgium.
Bergkamp.
You
go-
go to
you
Belgium,
go
and then you
to-
get on a train.
You go to Munich
You go to Munich, get
and
on a
get another
train.
train.
Go to Frankfurt and get on a
Get
train.
a train.
How come you guys never told me this all these years?
Huyu kwanza hapa, huyu
Eh?
hapa, huyu
Mbona
Mika.
mbona hakuna mtu amewahi kuniambia hivi vitu?
Nyie mpende kutravel, nyie mnapenda kukaa nyumbani.
Now I have to go to Europe. Now I'm motivated.
So now over here we have
Now I'm heavily motivated.
some comments over here. Dennis Wasonga is saying, why work more days to earn the same amount if you can earn it in a shorter amount of time?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and then Marine says, Konye, thank you for your contribution towards Kenya Sevens last 2 years. You have made such a meaningful difference in the lives of those that have played, and you never show off.
That is very true.
Last year, Konye bought the whole team winter jackets in Vancouver Sevens because they could not practice due to baridi. Your donation shows that you truly care about the sport we all love. Konye, OGW. And
Order
then-
of
the Grand Warrior.
the
And Dennis Wasonga says this order of the Grand Warrior for Konye is long overdue. And that's why, by the way, like we've been talking to Konye for a while.
yes.
We just had not been figured how to get a hold of him
Yeah.
because he was traveling for rugby nanini until we're able. Now that rugby is over, we decided that this is the best time this first week. And he spared. This is, what time is it in Uganda right now? Right now the
My
courts are
friend,
closed.
it's 5
hours away.
And
8
Wow.
a.m. So
Wow.
and he has
In
sharpened 3
Uganda.
hours.
Wow.
Well, 2.5.
Yes.
some ungodly hours, but it's a pleasure. Again, I've been wanting to get on this. I think we've talked about this since we were in LA last
Yes.
LA before relegation.
The LA before COVID.
Before
Yeah.
LA, we've talked about being on the show, but again, unfortunately, you don't force things. Again,
Mhm.
my life. Let me tell you a couple things in life. Never force issues. If it doesn't work, let it be,
Mm-hmm.
Let it go.
because you're gonna cause yourself some more stress than you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, you give yourself your flowers when you still can smell them.
True.
A lot of people say they kill themselves, saying, "Oh, let me work." I just say, but then you say, "Work extra shift," and then all of a sudden you're sick. Guess what? You cannot travel. You cannot be helpful to your family. You cannot be able to help to anybody. So give yourself the flowers when you can smell them. The other thing, somebody mentioned the diet. Diet. You cannot ask me what I eat. I eat seafood. I'm on a seafood diet. I see it, I eat it.
Seafood diet, I like that. I see it, I eat it.
The only thing I don't eat, I don't care much for pork. But
Good.
not for religious reason, but I just choose not to eat. I don't like it. They didn't. Yeah. So, but the main thing is, most people ask, "I want to get on a diet." The thing I tell people is, count your calories.
True.
Know how much calories you're eating in and how much you're putting out. Try and get a step counter, a watch step counter that's going to count your steps, how many steps you're doing, and then watch what you eat. That's exactly what you don't have to eat the whole plate. If you see my meal, I think I posted on YouTube, on Instagram yesterday, the food that I ate here in Uganda yesterday. Jesus Christ, I ate food could feed the whole small nation.
And Uganda has some good food.
But the food is
My
nutritious.
friend.
Yeah.
In Uganda,
the key thing, the one thing you have to realize, the food here is organic.
yeah.
This food is not in a factory. It's not the food that we have in the stateside.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's very true.
Processed. We don't have a lot of processed food. The other thing is avoid processed foods at all costs.
You know, Konye, we're gonna get you on a show for fitness on
No,
the
you know,
diet.
I've actually wanted to push for that show. I want us to push a show for fitness for, especially sisi wazee over 40. Kwa sababu, yeah, kwa sababu the thing is, let me tell you something. Once you realize how to get fit, you ask yourself, kumbe ilikuwa ngapi rahisi hivi ni mimi ndo siko najua. Let me tell you something. I used to, one thing that one person that actually showed me it can be done, and not even by speaking or doing anything, just looking at him, is Ed Ribui. Tulikuwa tunatoshana. All of a sudden Ed akakata, but then I used to see how much dedication he had on working out and on his diet. If there's one thing Ed will never mess up, is what he puts in his body.
Unajua hapa states there's too much processed food everywhere.
Yeah, and
so I think people need to be taught
Yep.
how they can enjoy their food without eating processed foods.
And then the moment you realize how to tabia mbaya tulireziwa nayo ni kumaliza chakula kwa sahani.
Yeah.
Right? We were raised with maliza chakula. Kwa hiyo ni mtoto. So it's been that's how you know. No matter the portions is just. So the moment you know how to count your calories and how to wait to know what you're putting in.
Yeah.
Then the moment you get to learn how to cook and how to make sure like whatever you're eating you man, there's nothing as expensive. Iyo kitungunu organic ni expensive ama like it's a benefit to you.
Yeah.
The food you prepare yourself is way better than hata kani chipo. Jipikie chipo uone difference.
By the way, I agreed with you.
Kushinda enda kubai chipo uone difference vile utakuwa. Totally different.
I know Jim is calling Konye. Quick comments here before you give us your parting shot, Konye. Sambaza podcast says, Ali Badawi, this conversation to come onto the show was hatched on the previous or the last time we were in LA after the pandemic. That's right. I even remember us chatting about it and hoping that Konye was going to come to the OneMicShow. I'm glad he came, and it has truly been amazing. That's Sambaza podcast. And then Washeke here says, job blessings upon you, Konye. On that fitness show, can we have someone discuss hormonal issues that affect women's weight loss? It's not linear for us. So,
And he's a doctor.
So,
in one.
So we've already hatched another show.
That one.
Yeah, and we'll figure it out. But Konye, give us your parting shot, like your message to the fans, to the government, to other stakeholders, to the pretenders, to the contenders. Konye.
And don't hold back.
Don't hold back. All those things that you didn't have a chance to say, this is your chance to say all of them on the show. Konye.
Thank you. I really want to thank a lot of Kenyans who, again, spend a lot of their money, their extra change, traveling when they see us traveling and they want to be part of the Kenyan crew traveling overseas to watch rugby. I really want to thank you guys because you guys are the real deal. Again, I can go out there by myself and me and Evans and just celebrate ourselves. But when we have 3, 4, 5 Kenyans show up together, like we did in Uruguay, it was 7 of us that went to Uruguay, and the whole stands, by the time we were done, they all knew Kenyan songs. I thank all the Kenyan fans, like for real. It is very, very memorable. Even the boys, when I talked to them about a few days ago, they say, when you talk to the people, just tell them thank you because they truly appreciate it. It makes a difference when they're in the field. Sometimes they cannot even hear their own calls because you're yelling so much, but they appreciate you guys. Another thing I can say, always put yourself first. Remember, you put yourself first. Without you, there's nobody else. So when you take good care of yourself, you will be able to go far. Then, make elephant in the room. is, again, we should not continue supporting mediocrity. May it be in government, may it be in our leaders, may it be in any organization that we look up to. There is a lot of wastage that happens in governments. You cannot believe how many of the ministry's staff travel just to travel so they can get a per diem. And they're out there in the field. They don't even know anything about rugby. Well, the ministry says they don't have any funds. And they travel with a big contingency of people that if you ask them what they're doing there, they'll give you some bullshit answers. I don't call out names, but I've talked to some, and it doesn't make any sense. Why you have to take a big contingency of people just to be there, instead of using those funds to develop a sport that can eventually raise the curtains of the flag a lot higher. That is one big call out to the government. We need to stop wasteful spending on useless stuff that's related to sport. And last but not least, my kids, I know they feel sometimes neglected. That daddy always goes to rugby. And I always take him. My daughter told me the other day that she doesn't want to go to a rugby event because it turns into a sherehe. She doesn't want to go. But my son is always game. Love you all, and really, thank you.
All right, asante sana
Thank you so much, Konye. Go get some
Fika
rest,
Jim,
boss.
last thing, we need to get the rugby players on this platform just like we've got in Omanyala, so whenever, they have a break, I know they're busy right now, preparing for
50
Paris
days,
Olympics.
50 days. It's 50 days till Olympics, so
Yes.
it's locked down right now.
So I know it's a no. So whenever they get a break, after that, maybe right after the Olympics, before they get to training for the season, both the men and the women, because I think the women, they're on the cusp of something big,
100.
and we need to start paying attention to them. And that Challenger Series for women, I think we need to come up with that small crew of people to travel to the Challenger
Yeah,
Series.
the girls
just
are
watch
going to
the
go to the
girls.
Challenger Series. We don't know the dates and we don't know the cities yet. Once we know the cities, again, there's always a WhatsApp group that pops up. When you see the message, if you feel interested, buy the ticket early. There's always going to be somebody there.
Hopefully there'll be a leg in the US for the Women's Challenger Series.
I'm hoping so. It's going to be hard sell because none of the US teams, both of them, are not in the Challenger. So they usually try to go to one of the countries. Maybe they'll bring it to Uganda. Maybe they'll bring it to Kenya.
Kenya.
No.
Hey, that would be nice if they bring it to
Don't
Kenya.
forget
If
Chipua.
they would, again, this is my thing for even World Rugby. We have a lot of Kenyans that travel all around. Why can't they give Kenya a test? Let's give Kenya or Uganda a test, and let's bring a game there.
Go.
Because, again, we are the fans. You guys can get one flight to Europe and come on vacation here, the same way we do.
Wow. They call him Konye wa Njoroge, or like we call him in Nairobi West,
Konye Njoroge.
Yeah. So Konye, Charlie
Doctor,
Jaseme
eh?
Ogwell on YouTube says, Konye G is one of a kind. Barikiwa sana, bro. So again, asante sana Konye. I know the gym is calling, and I appreciate you taking your time to be with us. Uno Mike, unaonaje?
Wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kuwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up.
Do we give Konye the final last word?
Final last word. Konye, your final last word.
Final last
The
word.
final,
If I leave
finally.
it,
Yeah.
finally.
Final last word.
Finally.
All the Kenyans listening to this from the US, let's all go to Kefio this year. Let's go. China.
Okay.
That's it.
Haya.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Mika Och.
Mika.
Well, that was a good show. That was a very, very, very wonderful show. I want to thank Konye. Thank you for staying up, waking up or staying up, whatever it is, man. But thank you for that. I know it's mad hard, man. When I'm home, I had me mwenye siingiangi show. Yeah. But
You Malaysia like Omosh.
Malaysia like Omosh.
Like Omosh. The Omosh Malaysia.
Yo tumezoea. Bye.
Like Omosh. But all in all, that was a very nice conversation about rugby, and it opened up some of the background things that happened in the back of it. And then we've had Hila, who worked at the union come and spoke about rugby from the union side of view, right? And then we have Konye come and speaking from the fan point of view. And then if you've listened to both shows and you can marry them, you can see that at the end of the day, all that rugby wants to do is win and grow. So we hope that we as fans have learned something new here and will continue. And one thing that all this means is that LA is back.
LA is back.
LA is back. You've just missed LA rugby for 1 year. Vancouver is back. So there's reason
But without
for you
the
to
Canadian team.
but without the Canadian. But then no, we don't care about the Canadian team.
Yeah, we don't care about
As
that.
you-
We don't know whether it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, but then all in all is we know that we are back and we are going to see our team. So this 1 year break was there, mlipumzika. Next year tupatanele. So prepare for that. And as Konye said, if you can make it to Wilmington, North Carolina, please make your way over there. Gonna be a fun weekend. Come watch the rugby, enjoy, chill, meet people, like learn something new, and just build it up from there. It's summertime. Yeah, you guys say you always wanna go. It's nauko Wilmington karibu na beach, si ndio uno?
Yeah, kabisa.
Beach.
Okay,
Beach.
Yes, 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 yes.
So unaweza vaa zile ngotha za Kenya.
No, you can turn it into a
Yeah,
vacation.
hizo za Konye.
Hizo za Konye.
Yeah, you can
I know there are people who want to buy those ngothas.
you can turn it into a vacation. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can.
Like if you feel like you need a break and you need to go somewhere, you have a reason now to travel.
And
like
Cape
if-
Fair is quite, it's right there.
Yeah.
And it will be an awesome experience. I was there last year. It was so timam.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
even there's some of those former players like in Bombay, Ahenda, other guys played. Akina Benny Fiongo, they played, and it was fun. But I was like,
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like for your for as a fan, like you can do both. You can come watch the rugby. You can go chill at the beach. You can come do both, right? Like you can turn it into a vacation and you can turn it into a weekend of dunda. Whichever way you want to do it, you can come and do it. And so for me, I just want to tell people it's summertime. We're outside. Vile watu sema, remember, don't drink and drive. Just be careful and see you next Friday. And wapendwa wachangiaji wetu.
Wachangiaji, yes, we can't forget them.
We cannot forget you. We want to
Yeah.
thank you again for good participation in this show, and we hope to see you on Friday. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, thank you so much, Mika. I want to thank again wapenzi wachangiaji. You guys are the ones who keep us going. Like I'm proud to say that we are the only show who can shift from, like very deep political conversation, siasa, serious stuff. We can talk about sports, and this is because of the different people we have in our team. We have a diversity of personalities here. Sometimes tuna clash, tunagongana vichwa, tunakosana, but we always come back together. Sometimes people disappear like Omosh Fire, Malaysia. We don't know where he is. At least we saw him pop his head here, so we know he's somewhere okay. I don't know whether he got a brown envelope from the president when he went to Atlanta, but someone tell us where he is, wherever you see him. Dennis Wasonga, he says that good stuff, gents, you always know how to seize and present the moments that matter. Thank you so much, Deno, for that vote of thanks. We try to be as relevant as possible, and we also try to be as unique as possible. We try to give you stuff that is unique that you cannot find anywhere else. Where else can you go and find a media or a group of people sitting with Konye Njoroge for 3 hours?
Konye
talking to
wa
him?
Konye.
Konye. Yeah, I mean, like we're gonna
Nairobi
try.
West, Nairobi
Yeah,
West,
that-
my
that-
bad,
I mean,
my
Nairobi
bad.
West accent is not easy
My bad,
to do the way you're saying it, but it's okay. But yeah, we try to give you these unique conversations. We try to start the conversations. We try to make people understand what's happening inside the hood, like what's not being seen by people. So we got a lot of gems, even us who follow, like Kenya rugby very diligently. Like Konye was able to open up issues that we would never even have ever thought about.
Right,
And he gave us gems and travel hacks that are very important. Now we're gonna save so much money. I'm challenging myself to go at least to 1 or 2 legs in Europe, this coming
There you
season.
go.
So accountability muni remind. Now that I know I can go to Akaushago somewhere in Europe, and then I jump on a train. I jump on a train.
Yes.
And then
Ama Ryanair.
yeah, and then I find myself in a major city. That's very interesting. I never thought about that, but na hope sitapotea. Unajua mimi mjukuu, yani mimi ni mtu I like straightforward things. I hope sitafika huko mara nimepotea, mara
you like verifiability.
I like verifiability. Mara nimefika Ocha ya sijui Romania huko, nimeshikwa sijui na wasewa gani, but anyway, I hope I will be able to do this next year. Cape Fear coming up June 21st, Friday June 21st, Saturday June 22nd, Sunday June 23rd. But now according to Konye ameongeza mpaka Thursday June
Karibu night.
June 20th.
Karibu night.
Yeah, Karibu night, and then all the way to Monday.
Monday,
So it will be a good event. This was a year when Kenyans were taking a break, and I think that was a good break. My heart was really broken when the team was relegated, but now looking back, I think it's something that we needed. Sometimes hata Mwenyezi Mungu anakuangalia anasema, umekuwa ukienda mbio sana, wacha tukupunguze mbio kidogo, ndio ujue mambo yendi hivi, ukae ujipange, utafakari, ujue ni mambo gani ambayo kwamba inakuja hapo. And I think it was a good also transition, new chairman, new players, and we are glad to see where things have come around. Like now this is just the start. We've been doing well, but this is the start. We're now just getting started, and hopefully things are gonna get better. We should be looking forward to now starting to win different tournaments. I like the way these young boys were playing. They were playing, like with like Mika mentioned, they had a mix of like they have the strength, but they also have the skill of seeing spaces and not always relying on strength,
brute strength.
Yeah, so they were very unpredictable on the field, and that became one of our strongest points. Ile dance ya Jojoro, I cannot forget that moment. Like, I mean, it was so epic. Nilikuwa nimeingiwa na butterflies kwa tumbo. Like I was almost losing my mind.
Katumbo.
But then these guys, I like when the Kenyan players, they showed some like some confidence, some swagger, and some mannerlessness. Like where Ajali ataambia wale watu bye bye. Those two guys who are chasing him, those guys have been posterized
Adios.
forever. They've been posterized forever, and that was the most amazing part. Your dance, we need to learn it, and I think he should patent it.